Welcome to this video. This is related to the out of Africa. And out of Africa is Darwinism, survival of the fittest, and evolution. So why DNA Adam is here, this star, this gray star, why DNA Adam A00. So why DNA Adam, the star, evolves to A haplogroup A. Why DNA haplogroup A? It's here, spread over several African countries. South Africa is one of them. And it's connected to the Khoisan people, the Khoisan or San people. In fact, Khoisan is Khoi and San people together. They are also known as the Bushmen. So they are the start of out of Africa, start of the human evolution. At least this is all according to consensus. I'm telling consensus, repeating consensus. It's supposedly the most ancient haplogroup in the world, and it's supposed to be an African haplogroup. But we will show, and that is according to science, the science to find our ancestor, to find our Adam, or so to speak, because we will never find our Adam. We should look to the ancestral markers. Ancestral markers, it's in the word, and to find our ancestor, to find the markers of our ancestors, our origin, the place of our origin, we should look at the ancestral markers. And the ancestral markers point to the Americas, North and South Americas. This is not related directly to the ancestral markers, although R is a quite recent marker. The haplogroup R is a quite recent marker. But this is to show supposedly Adam is here, where also this R1b spot is. It's pretty much in the same place. So this is the tree according to consensus. So it starts with A and it ends with R. And R should be appear because it's the Europeans. Consensus is still European focused or USA focused, or North American focused. So R should appear because it's actually the dominant haplogroup amongst us 8 billion modern humans. So it should appear. So it appears in the tree that is theoretized by consensus, but it starts with A. And still in this video, we will show that A is not African. So the very base of consensus is not African. It's not African according to the ancestral markers because they point to the Amazon forest and to the Americas. That's in other videos. And we will show that a relatively recent research of 2014, ancient DNA research, gives us sufficient proof that A, haplogroup A, nor Adam, are African. So that would mean the collapse of, well, of consensus about of Africa, possibly even of evolution. But that's a separate part. First of all, it's about if our origin lies in Africa or not. And the ancestral markers point. This is not the ancestral markers. I point to it because it's the Americas. Points to the Amazon forest and to the Americas. I think this is from a video from Michael Button. I'm not sure. It's where agriculture pops up, and you would expect that where the origin of all humans is, that agriculture should pop up there, but that's not the case at all, because haplogroup A, supposed ancestor of all humans, is here and here. It's in deserts, so it's almost logically that agriculture won't pop up in these deserts and is quite unrelated to A, but you would expect that it would be related to our ancestor. So it's a sidekick. It's strange that it doesn't pop up in sub-Saharan Africa, except for the Nile. But we all know that it's a fertile place and that there was agriculture, but it's not really sub-Saharan Africa where we supposedly come from. So this is the big thing of consensus world map of Y-DNA haplogroups. It's one of the big things. So Y-DNA Adam and haplogroup A. Haplogroup A. Strange enough, it doesn't appear in other parts of the world, which is strange by itself. The ancestor that populates all of the world should appear in other places, and it's totally withdrawn in Africa. So this is haplogroup A, totally withdrawn in deserts, because this is South Africa. This part is certainly more arid, but the real desert is above South Africa. And then haplogroup DE, haplogroup E is very important. It's the dominant haplogroup today in Africa. And you also see that the basal Eurasians, you see there's something wrong. The origin of E lies somewhere in the Middle East. It doesn't appear in sub-Saharan Africa. This is to show that, so Adam is supposedly here in Cameroon, more or less here, and there's of course an important river. This is certainly an important river in Africa, next to the Nile, of course. So this is an article in the New Scientists. It's of February 2014, so it's over 11 years ago, and you probably didn't hear of it, and there must be a reason for that. So the title is Humanity's Forgotten Return to Africa Revealed in DNA. DNA in this case is ancient DNA research. And David Reich is involved in this research. It's called Back to Africa because it blows away, it makes collapse out of Africa. So they have to invent a back to Africa or return to Africa. And it's big here, back to Africa 3,000 years ago. But didn't all start in Africa? Like 50, 65,000 years ago. It started, in fact, much earlier with mitochondrial Eve, but they started to leave Africa, which is very strange, 50, 65,000 years ago. So it's point to Pakistan, Indus Valley, this is India. So I suppose they want to tell us that they arrived as far as the Indus Valley, etc., the Indian subcontinent, roughly 60,000 years ago, after leaving 65,000 years ago. So this leaving is kind of crazy to me. Um, and why should they go to the Indus Valley? Well, there must be reasons to go to the Indus Valley, but that's very far away. There's a lot of things that don't make a lot of sense. And so, anyhow, the haplogroup A and Adam are not from Africa. Are not from Africa. They come from somewhere in Eurasia. They don't specify. They put a dot here to give the impression that it's somewhere in the Middle East. This is roughly the Fertile Crescent. And that coincides with Mesopotamia, so it looks acceptable for those who follow consensus. And then 3,000 years ago, it arrives in Africa. And there's no evidence at all that it ever left Africa. And then, even strange, or more strange, 900 to 1,800 years ago, which is about the time of Christ, they get here. I don't think there is evidence. I think they detect and they detect. Don't think they know about the migration themselves. Anyhow, so what is strange for this research is that they have Basque DNA. So this group that arrives, I think it is the case for both. They have DNA from Basques, Italians, and I think it's Sicilians. I have to check which part. Sardinians, Italians, and people from the Basque region. Basque region is not really Spain, but the Basque region should be more or less here. Italy is here. And this is Sicily, and this must be Corsica, I suppose. Corsica. No, Sardinia. Sardinia, Corsica, just above it. Resuming, here it's about an arrival in Africa. There's not something like a leaving of Africa. So it's an arriving, and in fact, it has supposedly has Western Eurasian DNA, but it's of the earliest hunter-gatherers, like they call them. And in other videos, we will see that the hunter-gatherers and even Air1A and Air1B come from the Americas because they have their root in the Americas, which fits with what the ancestral markers tell us. So we detect coming into Africa instead of the expected out of Africa. We detect arriving in Africa, and only 3,000 years ago, and something is still going on 900 to 1,800 years ago. I wonder if this is related to the Bronze Age collapse, the latest, and I wonder if this is related to Christianity.